if you're on the right and you're a tax cheat, you're demonized. You should be finished. You should be cancelled. But with Rayner, they wanted to come back. I mean, I still believe we could be looking at the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom there. I really believe that. Because it's either her or Ed Miliband at this rate.
She's not gone.
Into the top 3, the worst moments of 2025. And at number 3, tax cheat Angela Rayner, who tried to excuse paying the tax that her government expects us all to pay over her complex family situation, involving her departing husband and disabled son. The type of sympathy that, of course, you'd never receive from HMRC if you were an ordinary Brit. I think this was disgusting, but already, of course, by the end of the year, she was on the comeback trail.
Parents of a disabled child with a trust who divorce and seek different properties face a complex tax position. If there is one good thing, Mr. Speaker, that can come out of this, I hope that other families in the situation may now be aware of that and avoid getting into the position that I am now in. I am, of course, corresponding with the HMRC and they have my full cooperation. There is no excuse not to pay taxes owed, and I will do so. This was an honestly made mistake, but when you make a mistake, you take responsibility. To serve at the highest level of government was a privilege, not for the title or the office, but for the chance to change the lives of the people I grew up with and live alongside. Every day, I work to serve those same working class communities. In every decision that I made, I thought of them.
Now, Dominic Frisby, you were very taken there by Angela Rayner's hands.
Well, this was something I once read a book all about body language a long time ago, and apparently if you're being investigated by the FBI, the reason they have tables with nothing underneath is so that they can see your feet. When you concentrate on your face when you're lying, but if your hands go or your feet go,
she was shaking like a leaf.
Her hands were going mad. I wrote a song about Angela Rayner, and the chorus of the song was "Maybe Karma Actually Exists," because she spent so many years in opposition. She actually said, "Tax dodgers cost lives." That was her line. And, resign at the slightest hint.
Yes.
And she fudged her council tax. Then she used her son's disabled NHS allowance to buy a second home. And then she bunked off her 40 grand's worth of stamp duty. She and it was always some nuanced argument.
It was never her fault.
Yeah, but
it was never her fault, Dominic.
But she knew. And she was just trying to get off tax. But what annoys me is not that she was trying to get off tax, is that the law is so patently stupid when even the minister is trying to get round it.
Oh, but they're never going to change that.
They never reform the law.
But they're never going to change that. They're never going to change that. And Ben Habib, seeing the different reaction from the Labour Party, which is moving to the hard left, to this tax cheat in Angela Rayner has been quite astonishing because, as Dominic says, if you're on the right and you're a tax cheat, you're demonized. You should be finished. You should be cancelled. But with Rayner, they wanted to come back. I mean, I still believe we could be looking at the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom there. I really believe that. Because it's either her or Ed Miliband at this rate.
She's not gone. She's
definitely not gone. And I think it also testifies to the very weak position Keir Starmer now has, and Rachel Reeves.
He has to pretend he likes this woman.
He has to pretend it, even now, because he's got such division in his own party. And this is again...
And he hates her, by the way. Can we just be honest about that? He's always hated
Has
Rayner.
he?
Yeah, well, remember he tried to sack her and demote her, but he couldn't because she is the standard bearer for the
medical professionals and online commentators are weighing in after a resurfaced video of Meghan Markle dancing during pregnancy reignited fierce debate. Critics say the movements shown in the clip appear highly unusual for someone at that stage of pregnancy, with some experts publicly stating it would be extremely unlikely under normal medical conditions. The footage has gone viral once again, dividing opinion across social media. Supporters dismiss the criticism as cruel speculation, while skeptics argue the video raises serious questions that were never properly addressed. Comedian Dominic Frisby doesn't hold back, accusing Meghan of craving attention and deliberately fueling controversy as the panel debates whether moments like this helped shape the public backlash that now defines the Sussex brand. If you want the truth behind the headlines, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
They're suffering a lot of what they blame the Conservatives for, being a divided house, not having a unified political philosophy, not being able to command the majority that they have in Parliament. They have a 175-seat majority last year. It's probably slightly down from that now. But they can't command their majority. And that means that they're going to play lowest common denominator politics, and everything is going to be a backroom deal, which means they will not be able to govern for the national interest, which takes me in turn to their inability, you'll remember this last year, to just cut 1.6% off the welfare bill. Because people like Angela Rayner will take them right down. They came to Parliament with a view to reduce it by $5 billion. They ended up spending more as a result of their welfare reforms than when they went in. And it's because of people like Angela Rayner.
Yeah, so he's not in control of his own government.
And just to finish the point, in order to pay these massive welfare bills, they're going to tax us. And she's dodging the taxes.
To record levels. No, it's extraordinary. It is extraordinary. You would laugh or
Stamp
cry.
duty is a terrible tax.
Terrible
It
tax.
is a tax on
it's
mobility.
evil.
It is awful.
And the wealth tax that they've brought in is going to be even worse.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the
Well, they
fact
don't want
that it
us
is
owning
such a bad
anything,
tax.
do they? They do not want us owning anything. And this obviously feeds into a bigger globalist strategy at play. And indeed, at number 2 in our countdown, this is the runner-up for the worst moment of 2025. And it's Rachel Thieves or Rachel from Accounts or Rachel from Complaints, however you want to define this woman, who lied as Chancellor of the Exchequer, who I believe conducted fraud against the British people in the preparation of her budget. But the specific moment that makes our list is when she sobbed in Parliament, not over the fact that she has destroyed our economy, destroyed our tax system, but because her own job was on the line. Watch.
Of a Labour government, we've got free school meals, breakfast clubs, childcare, got £15 billion invested in transport in the North and the Midlands. We're cutting regulation, planning and infrastructure is pounding forward, building 1.5...
Next, attention turns to Prince Harry after a widely shared doorbell-style image sparked fresh speculation online. Critics questioned the timing, context and intent of the photo, while supporters insisted it was yet another example of harmless content being twisted into conspiracy. The discussion then widens to the media itself, as the panel revisits what they describe as the British bashing corporation's failed attempt to undermine President Donald Trump, arguing that editorial bias backfired and damaged public trust. Dan, Ben Habib and Dominic Frisby debate whether 2025 marked a turning point, not just for the Sussexes, but for mainstream media credibility as a whole.
And Dominic Frisby, I think a lot of people actually forget that this moment with Rachel Reeves was because she was worried that she was going to be out of a job. It was all political. And then, of course, the markets reacted, and she's now tied to Starmer forever. These two go down together.
Yeah, you were saying about the Oxford Union guy playing the victim when it suited him.
George Aberoni.
Aberoni. She does that. She complained about
mansplaining.
mansplaining.
This was all down to sexism.
Yeah. And, I just found when she lied on her CV, I just found that funny. Okay? Because we've all exaggerated on her CV. But then the real crime was this lie about, the misrepresentation of the OBR report, the hushing up of that, so that she could put up taxes to keep the backbenchers happy. That was very dishonest, because effectively she was lying to the bond markets. And, there's all sorts of implications to that. But the bottom line is this. We have someone who is the Chancellor of the Exchequer who is a serial liar.
100%.
She
is. Yeah. I mean, Ben, she is. And she's lied about everything. By the way, I mean, she's lied about what she did in terms of her own housing arrangements. She's lied about her career history. I mean, she's even lied about being a chess champion.
But the
as
biggest
a teenager.
26th in a local tournament.
Yeah.
But
she
the
calls
worst
herself a
lie,
chess
the worst
champion.
lie was the one that you just
Yeah,
mentioned.
it's terrible.
To make up to paint the national finances in a worse light than the already awful position they're in order to damage working class people. It's the working and middle class who get nailed every single time.
This fiscal drag.
The fiscal drag.
Like teachers now are paying higher rate income tax. Teachers.
Yeah, it's absurd. And pensioners are going to be dragged into it.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's awful. And she should be out on her ear. But again, it's this division in the party which has cemented them into position. And I know some people are hoping for an early election. It ain't going to happen. No. These people are going to be clawing on to power.
100%.
They're going to be clawing on to power, and they're not going to learn from the Conservative Party that changing the leadership doesn't change anything.
Well, they're going to have to do it.
All the same mistakes.
They are going to have to do it because you cannot leave a prime minister. I mean, I agree with what you're saying and the fundamentals that it will not save them. And I do think Labour are less inclined to change leaders. History proves that. Their system also makes it harder to do so. But you can't keep Starmer in power. You just can't.
No,
the guy is hated. He's not unpopular. He is hated.
Who actually likes him?
100%. And this leads us on to the worst moment of 2025. We are there in our countdown. And of course, it involves slippery Starmer. At number 1, it was our Prime Minister's shameful lying to President Trump on 2 occasions over free speech in the UK. The bastard lied in front of not just President Trump's face, but J.D. Vance's face, claiming that we still have free speech in the disunited kingdom. Watch.
Finally, the panel reacts to the shock axing of broadcaster Mike Graham, following a social media post labelled racist, a claim Graham strongly denies, insisting he never authored the post at all. The incident raises serious questions about accountability, due process, and how quickly public figures can be destroyed in the digital age, sometimes without clear evidence. As the 50 worst of 2025 countdown continues, one thing is clear: reputations were shattered, narratives collapsed, and trust in institutions hit new lows. Subscribe to Royal Household for the full countdown, uncensored panel debates, and the stories the mainstream
know that there
media
have been
won't.
infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British, of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time here, so we're very proud about that.
Yeah, we're not censoring anyone.
Ben Habib.
Well, of course we're censoring people. There are 12,000 arrests, if I can call them that, for non-crime hate incidents, which are basically challenging people on what they've said, down to as young as 9-year-old in the playground. And children grow up. And part of growing up is saying nasty things. Children grow up saying nasty things, but part of growing up is saying nasty things so you can establish in your own mind where you're at. But we are shutting down free speech. We are indoctrinating our children. We're requiring the population to take the knee to it. And of course, the cancellation of free speech goes hand in hand with the cancellation of people. That's how they do it. They cancel people, and then you toe the line on what they regard as acceptable doctrine. And we saw Bridget Phillipson at the tail end of last year introducing into children's syllabuses, I don't know if you saw this, the teaching of how to spot fake news.
Yes.
And the teaching of climate change. These are not settled, fake news, but that the whole point about fake news is you discover it yourself through debate, through free speech. And climate change is not a settled science. By no means is it a settled science. And yet they are going to put it into children's educational syllabuses. We don't have free speech in this country. We definitely don't. And people like me, speaking the way we do, you, all of us in this room, we are daily courting.
We're under threat.
We're under threat.
We are under threat.
Sometimes I just feel when I say what I think, I literally feel I'm guilty of heresy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just feel like I'm this heretic, and I'm like, oh my God, you know. But I watched those clips, and I remember watching them when they came out. And I was like, how can he say that?
Well, remember the first time he said it, Lucy Connolly was literally still in jail.
I know. And I mean, maybe I'm naive, but I don't believe that somebody can lie as blatantly as that. So my theory on it is that he doesn't actually know what free speech is and what it means. Because a lot of people think there is free speech, but it's as long as you say the right things. But if you can't challenge, climate change orthodoxy or, the EU or whatever issue it is, multiculturalism, if you can't challenge these things, then there is no free speech. And you are not allowed to challenge these things. And the fact that for me thinking that most of them are BS and multiculturalism isn't necessarily a good thing and is actually failing. And I'm starting to become a believer in monoculturalism now, awful man that I am. But for me, thinking these wanting to you have to have free speech in order to further your own ideas and cleave to the truth. You have to. And it's been discovered, it's been proven many times that for all the fake stuff there is on the internet, even now with AI and fake videos, human beings are actually remarkably good at deciphering between what is BS and what isn't BS. So I'm not as concerned as the left are about the proliferation of BS on the internet. I'm more concerned about the proliferation of BS in the institutions that are supposed to be honest.
100%. 100%.
Can I say one thing?
Please.
It's so interesting to me that in the top 10 that we've discussed today, free speech and cancellation culture has come up repeatedly.
How many times?
How many times? And if it's not at the forefront of the debate, it's lurking in the background. It's always lurking.
So true.
If you are to develop scientifically in any kind of way, you need to be able to say the unsayable. You need to have the freedom to say that. I notice it with comedy all the time. The hardest nights are new material nights because the joke doesn't quite work there. And comedy is all about going as close to the line as you can. And it's on new material nights that, maybe you're going to overstep the mark. And whenever I've got into trouble with audiences, it's always on new material nights when I haven't quite got the wording right. And that's when you're most in danger. But that's when you need a safe space.
Yes. Can I say one more thing, if I may say one more thing, because it's a testimony, goes partly back to the Oxford Union discussion we were having. In 1860, Thomas Huxley, you'll all know this, 1860, Thomas Huxley had a debate with Samuel Wilberforce, who was the son of Bishop Wilberforce, about evolution. Thomas Huxley made the case for Darwinian evolution, which stands directly in opposition to the church's understanding of how man was made. They had a convivial debate. They laughed and joked, and they went out and had supper afterwards. That was the state of free speech in 1860 in the United Kingdom. You try and do that today about some minority religious beliefs, and you will be arrested.
We've gone backwards.
We've gone backwards.
Really
that is absolutely chilling.
And do you know what cancellation is? It's excommunication.
Yeah.
It's medieval excommunication. I used
Absolutely.
to think, what's the problem with being excommunicated? Well, you get cancelled, and then now you understand.
It's our modern day version. Well, what a conversation. What a countdown. Two of my favourite guests. Ben Habib is, of course, the leader of Advance UK, now officially a political party. We will be following very closely this year what happens with Advance UK. Dominic Frisby is, of course, comedian. He writes the investment Substack, The Flying Frisbee. And here is his book, The History of Gold.
The secret
history of gold. Myth, money, politics, and power. And I imagine that was a good Christmas present for many, Dom.
Oh, it was a lovely Christmas present, particularly a signed one.
It can be a good New Year present as well, though, can't it? No, this is a great book. This is a great book.
Thank you.
And of course, my previous interview with Dominic talking all about the book is still available on YouTube. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
I've really enjoyed this countdown, actually. There was a lot of bad to look back on in 2025.